Hey YouTube, it's Dr. B from Women's Circle International, and I am back here to do another video for you all. So tonight's topic, there's so many things that I could really talk about, like so many things that have been just circling around in my head this evening. But I really want to just ground myself for a second and just really focus on exactly what it is that I want to say to you, exactly what it is that I believe that the universe wants you to know today, or exactly what it is that's just on my heart. So let me just take a deep breath and sip a little bit of my tea. Tonight I want to talk about the power of femininity. So it's very important that women stay grounded, that we harness our feminine energy, that when we do become pregnant with child, that we are mindful of not just what we physically do to our bodies, but what we mentally do to our bodies and what we spiritually do to our bodies as well. Because if any part of you is off, then the rest of you is going to be imbalanced. If there's any imbalance in one area, the whole thing, the whole body is imbalanced, whether it be a mental imbalance, a physical imbalance, or a spiritual imbalance. Okay, so I said that. But let me back up the choo-choo train before the woman even decides to become pregnant, and what I mean by harnessing your power and really channeling that feminine energy. It's very important that a woman understands the power that she possesses. And that power lies deep within our womb. And I like to call it womb power, womb magic. The womb, your womb, is a sacred space. It is a place where you have your dreams and your goals and your visions. It is a place where you give birth not just to a physical being, but also you give birth to your ideas, you give birth to your projects, you give birth to, those things that mean so much to you. Well, it all takes place in the womb. The womb is the place that it's the house for the dream. It's the house for the vision. It's the house for the living being. And so it is a powerhouse. It is the place where you can connect to receive answers. It is where your instinct lies. It is where your intuition is. It is where your passion is, deep within your womb. But for many of us, it is also where our trauma is, where our heartbreak is. Everything that may have happened to you as a child, or failures that happened as an adult, all of these pains, this heartache, this trauma sometimes shows up in the womb. And sometimes it can be a physical manifestation. It could be a miscarriage. It could be fibroids. It could be, just a lot of different womb problems. Some women have hysterectomies, et cetera, And I'm not saying that, these issues don't have anything to do with physical, maybe diet or exercise or a real disease, but I'm saying that all diseases have a spiritual side to them as well. And it's important sometimes, well, actually for me, all the time, to get to the root of why you have the trauma in the first place. And so many of us have been hurt and been in, some of us abusive situations, some totally out of our control, some when we were just children, and how that's left fingerprints all over our wombs. And so it has decreased our ability to produce. It has decreased our ability to even dream, to even have a vision in the first place, because our wombs are so damaged. Our power supply is so damaged. The womb, again, is where we hold our power. It is our sacred place. Where some of us, we've let anyone into our womb, into our sacred place. And when you let someone in your womb, someone that, may not love you, or someone that may not value you, or someone who may not appreciate you, and all of a sudden their fingerprints and their damage is on the inside of your womb, and you wonder, why it's so challenging for you to let that particular person go. And it's because a part of their essence is in the fabric of your very being. It's in the fabric of your womb. Their failures are in your womb now. Their fears are in your womb now. It's so important, therefore, to connect and to clear your space, to connect with the power of your womb, to never underestimate the value of a sacred womb. And you say, well, Dr. V, how do I plug into that power? How do I erase years of damage to my womb? How do I get past this place where I'm always hurting, I'm always crying, I'm just a mess? You have to take a step back before you take a step forward. And so that means that you have to get real with what really happened to you. You have to start speaking your truth. You have to start speaking your truth, yes, from the womb. You have to start getting out all those years of emotional trauma, all those years of spiritual trauma, all those years of physical trauma. You have to start vocalizing what happened to you, because there's power in speaking out on those things that happened to you. All those years maybe where you didn't have a voice. I know, I've been there too. You have to start speaking out against those things, or sharing within a close sacred space, within a close group of maybe women, preferably women that understand you, and women who 9 times out of 10, they've been there too. And start sharing, getting it out. You're going to feel so much better when you get out what happened to you, things that happened to you, around people, around women, a strong, supportive circle of women that can embrace you, that can hug you, that can let you know what, that happened to me too. Okay, that's the first thing. Confession. What went wrong in the first place? What is the root of the problem? You always have to get to the root of the problem before you can even begin to fix anything. Otherwise, you're just putting on makeup. You just, your hair looks good. You look great, but really you're hurting. You're hurting. Step number 1, confession. Step number 2, and confession, that can also be professional help, going to someone, psychologist, psychiatrist, going to someone that you feel that you can trust to just let them know what happened to you. Okay. Step number 2, forgiveness. Whoever did what to you, whatever they did to you, whenever they did to you, years ago or yesterday, 15 years ago or 5 minutes ago, you need to learn how to forgive. Forgiveness, as they say, is not necessarily for that person, but it's for you to be able to move on, to be able to set yourself free. As long as you hold on to unforgiveness, you have this cord that's going to this person, constant cord. Just imagine you have a cord in your hand, and the person that abused you has the other end of the cord, and you're constantly holding on to it, and wherever that person goes, you go. Your emotions are still tied. You're still connected. You have to cut the cord. And forgiveness is cutting the cord. Forgiveness is letting go. Not to say that you've forgotten, you don't have a sudden case of amnesia. Okay? But that just means you're deciding to let go. You're deciding to forgive. You're deciding to walk away mentally from it, walk away emotionally from it, walk away spiritually from it. You're deciding to walk away. So that's step number 2, forgiveness. And also forgiving yourself. A lot of times as women, we put so much blame on ourselves. This wouldn't have happened to me if I didn't stay out, late at night. This wouldn't have happened to me if I knew XYZ, if I saw all of the signs, and if I listened to my girlfriends when they told me that person wasn't the person for me. It wouldn't have happened to me then. But you really don't know. Maybe that wouldn't have happened to you, but maybe something else would have. You can't catch everything all of the time. And sometimes things happen to us, and sometimes we can't even explain why they happened to us in the first place. Okay? Forgive yourself. After you forgive you have confession, you have forgiving, and then also loving yourself. A lot of us have a hard time loving ourselves. And once again, I'm talking about, the topic is how to harness your feminine energy, how to harness that power within your womb. Okay? You have to love yourself. You can't expect to even be able to harness any type of power or have any type of power if you don't love yourself. Well, you say, well, Dr. B, how can I love myself? What are some practical ways that I can love myself? Literally telling yourself, looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? I love you. I love you. I love you, or I love me, or whatever, however you want to do it. But just make sure that you are communicating with yourself, loving yourself. I don't care if you have to hug yourself. I don't care if you have to buy yourself flowers, if you have to take yourself out to eat, if you have to buy yourself a cup of tea, but start treating yourself the way that you want to be treated. Don't wait for someone else to show up on a horse with knight in shining armor. You become that very thing that you desire. You become that for yourself. You become your own knight. Rescue thyself. Okay? And I could go on a tangent with that one. A lot of people want to be healers and everything else like that. But you know what? The first person you need to heal, the first person you need to lay hands on is you. Okay? Heal thyself. You heal yourself. One of the ways you do it is with love. Compassion for yourself. Not being so hard on yourself. Not being so critical on yourself. Society is going to do that for you. Now, why on earth would you want to be critical of yourself too? Why join in a group of people that are pointing fingers at you? Why would you want to do that? Exactly. It doesn't make sense. The first person you need to love is you. And then once you get a hold of loving you, then you'll start attracting people that love you as well. Okay? And that love you the way you deserve to be loved. Don't lower your standard. A lot of us, including myself, I have made that mistake in the past of lowering my standards. And honey, no. Okay? Just no. All right, so we talked about loving yourself, okay? Loving yourself also means taking care of yourself, keeping up with yourself. And I'm not talking about from, having the latest MAC lipstick and lace wig on fleek. I'm talking about really loving yourself. I'm talking about getting to know yourself. Spending time with yourself, writing love letters to yourself, getting back to yourself, finding out what it is that you like in the first place, and then doing those things with yourself. And then, of course, there's nothing wrong with, eyebrows on fleek, but your spirit and your soul and your womb, that needs to be on fleek. Let that be a goal for you. Okay? All right. There's so many other ways to harness that feminine energy, that womb power. But once you find your voice, once you start loving yourself, once you've forgiven yourself, once you've confessed what happened to you, you are going to be on that path, the path of healing. Okay? Speaking to your womb, speaking life into your womb, saying, and again, that goes back to you loving yourself. I love me. I love this about me. I love that about me. I'm great at this. I'm great at that. And you know what? Some people may think that you're arrogant, but sometimes you have to do some extreme things to overcome some trauma in your past. And if that means that you need to be a little bit more selfish, if that means you need to be a little bit more selfish and spend a little bit more time with yourself, at the end of the day, don't you understand that you're all that you have? Yeah, all these people are around you and everything else like that, and networks of support and everything, but you came through the birth canal all by yourself, okay? And when it's all said and done, they only make one casket. And that one casket could only fit one body. They don't put two people in the casket. At the end of the day, it's just going to be you in there. Okay? And I hate to make it so plain, but I have to, in order for you to really realize that you have to get a hold of yourself. You have to protect yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to get this in your mind in order for you to have any type of successful relationship with anybody. Some of you, that's why all your relationships fall apart, because you have this great expectation from someone else, or for someone else to do X, Y, and Z for you. But you know what? The first person that needs to do X, Y, and Z for you is you. You don't expect anyone else to do something for you that you wouldn't do for yourself. And once you start doing it for yourself, then you attract that. And once you start doing all of these things and stop selling yourself short and stop giving your stuff away, you know what I mean? Giving your goodness away to everybody that comes sniffing around your door, because you know what? Not everyone is qualified. Not everyone is qualified to get into your sacred space. Once you start realizing that you are a goddess rising, hello somebody, you're not just going to let every Tom, Dick, and Harry in your space. Okay? But if you have no knowledge of self, if you have no value of self, you let anybody come in because they're giving you attention. But once you start giving attention to yourself, once you start knowing your own value, then you rise and you become a queen. And queens don't attract peasants. And even if they do, they can't stay in the presence of a queen very long. They either rise or they fall. So anywho, that's what I want to talk about today. What an awesome discussion. I had a good time. I hope you did too. Again, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about this topic. I don't have all the answers. I just have my experiences, and I am just excited to know and hear about your experiences as well. Okay? Love you guys. Bye.